Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Italian ebook before it's gone.
Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo. Welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned the phrase Scusi, parla inglese? Excuse me, do you speak English? We mentioned the word scusi, which means excuse me in formal Italian. Today, we are going to learn how to use scusi and other words when apologizing in Italian. Are you ready? Allora, cominciamo! Let's start! We should use scusi in formal Italian, such as when we are ordering something in bars or restaurants. For example, scusi, un caffè per favore. Scusi, un caffè per favore. We can also use it when asking a question. Scusi, dov'è il Colosseo? Scusi, dov'è il Colosseo? Sometimes we also hear people say mi scusi, which actually has the same meaning. We always use this phrase in formal speech. The informal way to say excuse me is scusa. Scusa. We can use scusa when asking a friend or a relative a question. For example, scusa, che ore sono? Scusa, che ore sono? Or when apologizing. Scusa, sono in ritardo. Scusa, sono in ritardo. Instead of scusa, we can also say scusami, which has the same meaning. Besides scusi and scusa, if we want to apologize for something, we may use mi dispiace, Italian for I am sorry, in both formal and informal situations. Someone might tell us mi dispiace in a formal situation. For example, the waiter of a restaurant could say mi dispiace ma I calamari sono finiti. Mi dispiace ma I calamari sono finiti. Or, in an informal situation, when you need to apologize to a friend, you could say mi dispiace per ieri. Mi dispiace per ieri. Now it's time for Consuelo's tips. Please remember that in Italy, if you accidentally bump into someone, we don't say I am sorry, mi dispiace. Instead, we say scusi, excuse me. My last tip for today is this. When you want to apologize in a deeper, more heartfelt way, you can add the adverb molto or tanto next to mi dispiace, saying mi dispiace molto or mi dispiace tanto. Hey guys, please tell me, are you able to count in Italian? What is the name of our lessons? Italiano in 3 minuti. You see, you already know a number. 3. In the next lesson, we will learn the numbers in Italian from 1 to 10. 3, 2, 1, via! 3, 2, 1, go! We'll be waiting for you in our next Italiano in 3 minuti lesson. Ciao! Alla prossima lezione! Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo. Welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned some words used when apologizing in Italian, including scusi and mi dispiace. Today, we are going to learn numbers. Are you ready? Allora, cominciamo! So, let's start! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, now repeat after me. I'll say the numbers and give you time to repeat each one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Great job! What is before uno? Do you know? It's the same as in English, but with a different pronunciation. Zero. Zero. You don't have any more excuses. You can give your friends your mobile number in Italian. Let's try together. Il mio numero è 337 122 4968. Can you read it by yourself? 337 122 4968. Now it's time for Consuelo's tips. When we buy groceries in Italy in shops or supermarkets, we usually have to stand in line with a number. When it's your turn to check out, they scream, numero uno, numero 10, and so on. You must be ready. In the next lesson, we are going to learn the numbers from 10 to 100. Your task now is to practice the numbers we studied in this lesson, from 1 to 10. 3, 2, 1, via! 3, 2, 1, go! We'll be waiting for you in our next Italiano in 3 minuti lesson. Ciao! Alla prossima lezione!
If you're tired of knowing and speaking the language at a basic level and want to express yourself fluently just like native speakers, then you'll need to learn grammar. The problem? It can be tricky to learn. But don't worry, in this guide you'll discover how to learn and master grammar with the Grammar Bank. 1. Where to get all of the grammar explanations you'll ever need. 2. The best way to learn grammar that's right for your level. And 3. How to expose yourself to real examples until the rules become natural to you with a study tool called the Grammar Bank inside of our learning program. But first, if you don't yet have access to our program, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description. First, what is the Grammar Bank? The Grammar Bank is like a grammar dictionary, except online. It's a database of the must-know grammar rules and explanations that makes it easy to look up specific rules and learn them. Look for it in the top menu of our site. 2. How do you learn grammar with it? The best way to learn grammar is not to just study rules, but to learn in context and hear the grammar used in real life. And that's exactly how you learn with our lessons. You learn a quick conversation and hear how the grammar rules are used within that conversation. 3. What if you come across grammar that you're not familiar with? Or what if you want to review a specific rule without going back to redo a lesson? That's where the Grammar Bank comes in. You can look up grammar rules and get the explanations, examples, and links to lessons where we cover these rules. You can also sort grammar by learning level. So if you're an absolute beginner and want to make sure you know all of the absolute beginner grammar rules, you can do just that with the Grammar Bank. You can also sort the rules by spelling, category, and lesson series. And if you want to get used to the grammar patterns so that you can use them in conversation and become fluent, the best way is to expose yourself to examples as much as possible. Grammar is hard at first, but gets easy once you get used to it with enough exposure. Be sure to access the related lessons inside the Grammar Bank and listen to the native conversations that use the rule as much as possible. So, if you want to become fluent and speak perfectly, you'll need grammar. Take advantage of the Grammar Bank inside of our learning program. But if you don't yet have access, sign up for a free lifetime account right now. Just click the link in the description to sign up.
Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo. Welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest, and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned the numbers from 1 to 10. Do you remember them? Here I'll tell you again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And now let's continue from 11. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and finally we have 20. Okay, now repeat after me. I'll say the numbers and give you time to repeat each one. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. The numbers from 11 to 20 may seem harder to remember, but please keep in mind that from 11 to 16, the numbers always end in dici, which stands for 10, but from 17, 17, they switch into dicia, and the order is reversed, like 18 and 19. Counting from 10 to 100 is super easy. Now I'll give you the tens. 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100. We form Italian compound numbers above 20 by simply adding each element in successive order. So, take the tens and simply add the numbers you learned in the previous lesson. Let's try it out by forming some of these numbers. Take the number 56. 50 is 50, and then add 6. 6. 56. It's done! Isn't that easy? Let's make another number. For instance, 99. Take 90, 90, and then add 9. 9. 99. Now, be sure to pay attention. Since the numbers 20, 30, 40, and so on, drop the final vowel before uno and otto, because they both begin with a vowel. For example, 21, 21, 21, or 38, 38, 38. After only 2 lessons, you are now able to count 100 in Italian. Now it's time for Consuelo's tips. If you want to practice your numbers, why don't you play tombola with your Italian friends? What is tombola? Tombola is the Italian version of bingo. In the Napolitan version, each number has a very amusing drawing that represents a character. For example, the number 22 22 is o pazzo, the fool. In the next lesson, we are going to learn the phrase quanto costa? Do you know what that phrase means? We'll see these and many other words that may help you while shopping. We'll be waiting for you in our next Italiano in 3 minuti lesson. Ciao, alla prossima lezione! Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo and welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned how to count in Italian. I hope you spent enough time practicing the numbers. They will be useful for this lesson because we're going to learn how to ask, how much is it? The phrase, how much is it, is quanto costa? Quanto costa? Are you ready for some unchecked shopping in Italy? Let's practice together. The first thing to say to a shop clerk is scusi. Do you remember what that means? Excuse me. So, scusi, quanto costa? Scusi, quanto costa? If we want to be more specific when asking how much is this, we should add questo when referring to a masculine object or questa when referring to a feminine object. Quanto costa questo? Quanto costa questa? For example, hat is a masculine noun. Cappello. Scusi, quanto costa questo cappello? And what about feminine nouns? Skirt in Italian is feminine, gonna. So, scusi, quanto costa questa gonna? At this point, the shop clerk can answer by saying costa bla bla bla, sono bla bla bla, fanno bla bla bla. For example, sono 39 euro, fanno 39 euro, or costa 39 euro. What number is 39? I'm not telling you. Okay, it's 39. It costs 39 euros. Now it's time for Consuelo's tips. A quicker way to ask how much is quant'è, which literally means how much is. Even when you ask for an espresso at the counter of an Italian bar, you can ask the cashier, un espresso, per favore. Quant'è? One espresso, please. How much is it? So, don't forget that Italian streets are full of stands, and in most little towns you can easily find local markets with many stands where you can buy absolutely everything. At this point, can you count euros in Italian? We are going to learn how to do this and much more in the next lesson. We'll be waiting for you in our next Italiano in 3 minuti lesson. Ciao, alla prossima lezione!
Want to master grammar so you can speak properly, express yourself better, and understand more? In this video, I'll show you how to master grammar with our lessons and learning program. Let's begin. Number 1. Listen to the lesson conversations and explanations. In every lesson, you learn a conversation. Then, our teachers break down every word and grammar rule. So you're actually learning grammar rules in the context of conversations, and you can easily see how they're used. Once you're done, review the conversation again and again to remember what you've learned. Number 2. Read the bonus explanations and tutorials. With the lesson notes, you get extra grammar explanations and examples that are not presented in the lesson. After you're done with the lesson, read the lesson notes for extra review. You can even save them as PDFs so that you can access them anytime. Number 3. Leave a comment on the lesson. Once you've learned a grammar point, be sure to use it. Leave a comment in the comments section. Write some example sentences for practice. Our teachers will review your comment and give you feedback. Number 4. Unlock even more grammar lessons. If you want to find all of the grammar lessons available, visit our lesson library. Under Category, choose Grammar. You'll get all of the pathways and lessons dedicated to helping you learn and master sentence patterns and grammar points. So, if you're ready to finally learn a new language the fast, fun, and easy way, sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Signing up takes less than 30 seconds, and you'll start speaking from your very first lesson. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share it with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo and welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned how to be grateful saying grazie. Today, we learn some of the most common greetings used in Italy. Pronti? Are you ready? Allora, cominciamo! Let's start! The most used informal greeting is ciao. Ciao. Ciao means hi, hello, and goodbye. That's why we use it when we meet, but also when we leave. We should only use this greeting with relatives or friends. And now, let's talk about some more formal greetings. The one you're used to hear in Italy and at ItalianPod101.com is buongiorno. Buongiorno. Literally, buongiorno means good day. However, we could also interpret it as good morning or good afternoon. As a rule of thumb, we can use buongiorno only during the daytime from morning until evening. During the evening, we say buonasera. Buonasera. So, since sera obviously means evening, buonasera stands for good evening. Buongiorno and buonasera are used when we meet someone, but when we leave, we don't say them again. In this formal situation, Italians use arrivederci. Arrivederci. Arrivederci means goodbye. Finally, in Italian, we use the expression meaning see you soon, that can be considered both formal and informal. That is, a presto. A presto. Now, you can greet people in many different ways in Italian. Ciao. Ciao. Buongiorno. Buonasera. Arrivederci. Arrivederci. A presto. A presto. It's easy, isn't it? Now, it's time for Consuelo's tips. In formal situations, Italians commonly greet one another by shaking hands. On the other hand, if we meet someone we are very friendly with, we kiss each other on the cheek. Don't be afraid to do it with your Italian friends. It's normal. Ciao!
Ciao!
In the next lesson, we learn the meaning of the phrase parla inglese? Do you already know it? We'll be waiting for you in our next Italiano in 3 minuti lesson. Ciao, a presto, alla prossima lezione! Ciao a tutti, sono Consuelo. Hi everybody, I'm Consuelo and welcome back to ItalianPod101.com's Italiano in 3 minuti, the fastest, easiest and most fun way to learn Italian. In the last lesson, we learned the most common forms of greetings in Italian. We talked about greetings like ciao, buongiorno, buonasera, and so on. Today, we are going to learn a very useful phrase. Do you speak English?
Using this phrase as opposed to speaking English to someone is important for many reasons. For one, if the person you're speaking to doesn't understand English, at least they'll be able to understand what you're saying. Furthermore, that you've made an effort to learn even a little bit of the language shows a lot of respect on your part. So, for these reasons and many more, we are going to cover this very important phrase. Are you ready? Allora, cominciamo! So, let's start! Now, here's the informal way to say it. Parli inglese? Parli inglese? In this sentence, the verb parlare, to speak, is inflected in the second singular person tu. You can easily recognize it from the ending part of the verb parli. To learn how to properly conjugate are verbs like parlare at the present indicative, please look at our Absolute Beginner series. You can find very detailed grammar lessons if you check upon italianpod101.com. But now, let's go back to parli inglese. Inglese is the adjective that means English. When asking the question, do you speak English in a formal situation, you should switch the verb parlare into the third singular person, lei. The result is parla inglese. This sentence could be very helpful if you're in trouble on the streets, in a restaurant, at a hotel. No matter where you are, whenever you need to talk to an English speaker, just ask, parla inglese? Adding scusi, excuse me, the sentence becomes more polite. Scusi, parla inglese? Scusi, parla inglese? The responses you will receive could be basically one of these three. Sì. Sì. Un po'. Un po'. No, non parlo inglese. No, non parlo inglese. Since this last one is a negative statement, we should say non before the verb. With io, Italian for I, the verb changes into parlo. That is why I do not speak is non parlo. Non parlo. Now it's time for Consuelo's tips. For those of you who are not only English speakers, you can obviously use this question with any language you need. Italians study other European languages at school, so maybe you get lucky. Just substitute inglese with francese for French, spagnolo for Spanish, and tedesco for German. In today's lesson, we mentioned scusi. In the next lesson, we'll learn these and other ways to apologize in Italian. It's never too late to show your good manners with Italian people. I'll see you in our next Italiano in 3 minuti lesson. Ciao, alla prossima lezione!
Learning to carry a conversation is vital to mastery of any language. Even beginners can quickly learn conversational language well enough to carry on real conversations with native speakers. Of course, beginners won't be able to carry a conversation the same way they could in their native language. But just knowing a few tips, like which questions to ask to keep a conversation going, are all you need to speak and interact with real native speakers. Before we get to specific suggestions, let's first take a closer look at how having real conversations in your target language is so vital to your mastery of the language. Communicating with other people is the very point of language, and conversation comes easily in our native tongue. For beginners or anyone learning a new language, conversations aren't easy at all, and even simple greetings can be intimidating and awkward. Nothing kills a conversation faster than long periods of awkward silence, so you need practice and specific strategies to avoid them. When you know what to say to keep a conversation going, communication becomes much easier, and you make a better impression on your listener. Nothing will help you learn to speak a language faster and truly master the language than having real conversations with native speakers. Conversations quickly expose you to slang, cultural expressions, and vocabulary that force you to absorb and assimilate information faster than any educational setting. And that's a great thing. But how can you possibly have real conversations with real people if you're just starting out? Here are 3 proven methods that even beginners can quickly use to learn conversational language to make a great impression and avoid awkward silences. First, ask questions to keep a conversation going. For beginners and even more advanced speakers, the key is to ask questions to keep a conversation going. Of course, they can't be just random questions, or else you may confuse the listener. But by memorizing a few key questions and the appropriate time to use them, you can easily carry a conversation with minimal vocabulary or experience. And remember, the more conversations you have, the quicker you will learn and master the language. Second, learn core vocabulary terms as quickly as possible. You don't need to memorize thousands of words to learn conversational language. In fact, with just a couple hundred words, you could have a very basic conversation. And by learning maybe 1,000 to 2,000 words, you could carry a conversation with a native speaker about current events, order in restaurants, and even get directions. To help you get started with this, check out our 2,000 common words, also known as our core list. These 2,000 words are all you need to learn to speak fluently and carry a conversation with a native speaker. Third, study video or audio lessons that you can play and replay again and again. If you want to know how to carry on a conversation, then you need exposure to native speakers, and the more, the better. Studying video or audio lessons is ideal because they provide contextualized learning in your native language, and you can play them again and again until you achieve mastery. Our instructors have created more than 2,500 video and audio lessons that you can play over and over. And the best part is, they don't just teach you vocabulary and grammar. They are designed to help you learn to speak and teach you practical everyday topics like shopping, ordering, and more. Although it may seem intimidating for a beginner, the truth is that it's very easy to learn conversational language. Just learn a few core vocabulary terms and which questions to ask to keep a conversation going. Our language learning program has the world's largest online collection of video and audio lessons by real instructors. Plus, tons of advanced tools to help you learn to speak and carry on a conversation quickly. Just a little practice and exposure to real conversations or lessons is all it really takes. So, if you're ready to finally learn a new language the fast, fun, and easy way, sign up for your free lifetime account by clicking on the link in the description. Signing up takes less than 30 seconds, and you'll start speaking from your very first lesson. If you enjoyed these tips, hit the like button, share the video with anyone who's trying to learn a new language, and subscribe to our channel. We release new videos every week. I'll see you next time. Bye!
With these can-do videos, you'll see real-life situations where you have to introduce yourself, talk about your family, or give your contact information. So, by the end, you can do them yourself in Italian. This video is a small portion of our can-do course. To get the full course, including translations, grammar tools, and assessment tests, click the link in the description.
Welcome to Can Do Italian by ItalianPod101.com.
Ciao a tutti, sono Felice Angelini. Hi everyone, I'm Felice Angelini. In this lesson, you learn how to tell someone where are you from in Italian.
This is Mark Lee, and he's on a plane to Italy. Paolo Parisi, a passenger sitting next to him, asks, "Where are you from?"
Di dov'è?
Listen to the conversation and focus on Mark's response. Note the speakers in this conversation use formal Italian. Ready?
Di dov'è?
Sono di New York.
Once more with the English translation.
Di dov'è?
Where are you from?
Sono di New York.
I am from New York.
Wondering how you can master these conversations even faster? Here's how. 1. Read along. You get the lesson conversation and translations inside our dialogue tool so that you see each word as you hear it and understand it all. 2. Practice speaking. By shadowing what you hear, You can also record and compare yourself with native speakers with our voice recording tools. And 3. Take our assessment tests and see how much you remember. These tools are part of our Can Do course. Just click the link in the description to get them.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
Do you remember how Paolo Parisi asks, "Where are you from?"
Di dov'è?
First is
Di,
meaning from in this context.
di, di.
Next is
Dov'è?
a formal phrase which translates as, "Where are you?"
Dov'è?
First is
Dove?
where.
Dove? Dove?
Next is
È,
you are when using formal Italian.
è. È,
Note
è.
is a shortened form of
Lei è.
you are. In Italian,
Lei.
you, when using formal Italian, can be omitted when it is understood from context.
È.
Is from the verb
Essere.
meaning to be.
Essere. Dove?
Is contracted with
È.
to form.
Dov'è?
Altogether,
Di dov'è?
where are you from?
Di dov'è?
Remember this question. You'll hear it again later in this lesson.
Now, let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Mark Lee says, "I am from New York"?
Sono di New York.
First is
Sono.
I am.
Sono. Sono.
Note, in this sentence,
Sono.
is a shortened form of
Io sono.
I am. In Italian,
Io.
I is usually omitted as it's understood from context.
Sono.
Is from the verb
Essere.
meaning to be.
Essere.
Next is
Di.
from in this context.
Di.
Last is the city,
New York.
New York.
New York. New York.
Altogether,
Sono di New York.
I am from New York.
Sono di New York.
The pattern is
Sono di city name.
I am from city name.
Sono di city name.
Note, this pattern works only with the names of cities, villages, or towns. To use this pattern, simply replace the city name placeholder with the name of your hometown city. Imagine you're from Sydney. In Italian,
Sydney. Sydney. Sydney.
say, I am from Sydney. Ready?
Sono di Sydney.
I am from Sydney.
Sono di Sydney.
Let's look at some examples. Listen and repeat, or speak along with the native speakers.
Sono di New York. Sono di New York.
Sono di Bologna. Sono di Bologna.
Sono di Seattle. Sono di Seattle.
Sono di Londra. Sono di Londra.
Sono di Roma. Sono di Roma.
Sono australiana. Sono australiana.
Did you notice how the last speaker uses a different pattern?
Wondering how you can master these conversations even faster? Here's how. 1. Read along. You get the lesson conversation and translations inside our dialogue tool so that you see each word as you hear it and understand it all. 2. Practice speaking. By shadowing what you hear, you can also record and compare yourself with native speakers with our voice recording tools. And 3. Take our assessment tests and see how much you remember. These tools are part of our Can-Do course. Just click the link in the description to get them.
Sono australiana.
I am Australian.
Sono australiana.
Instead of
Di.
plus the city name placeholder, she uses an adjective for her nationality. This pattern is
Sono nationality.
I am nationality.
Sono nationality.
In Mia Martin's case, she uses a feminine adjective
Australiana.
to describe herself.
Sono australiana.
In the case of a male speaker from Australia, he would use a masculine adjective
Australiano.
to describe himself.
Sono australiano.
I'm Australian.
Sono australiano.
You can use this response to answer the question.
Di dov'è?
You should be aware of this pattern, but for this lesson, we'll use the pattern
Sono di city name.
I am from city name.
Sono di city name.
Let's review the key vocabulary.
Bologna.
Bologna,
Bologna. Bologna. Seattle.
Seattle,
Seattle. Seattle. Londra.
London,
Londra. Londra. Roma.
Rome,
Roma. Roma. Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say New York? New York. New York. And how to say from? Di. Di. Do you remember how Mark says, I am from New York? Sono di New York. Sono di New York. Do you remember the formal way to say, where are you? Dov'è? Dov'è? And do you remember how Paolo Parisi asks, where are you from? Di dov'è? Di dov'è? Do you remember how to say London? Londra. Londra. And how to say Seattle? Seattle. Seattle. Do you remember how to say Rome? Roma. Roma.
Let's practice. Imagine you're Jack Jones from London. Respond to Paolo Parisi's question. Ready?
Di dov'è? Sono di Londra.
Listen again and repeat.
Sono di Londra. Sono di Londra.
Let's try another. Imagine you're Emma Esposito from Seattle. Ready?
Di dov'è?
Sono di Seattle.
Listen again and repeat.
Sono di Seattle. Sono di Seattle.
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Felice Angelini from Rome. Ready?
Di dov'è?
Sono di Roma.
Listen again and repeat.
Sono di Roma. Sono di Roma.
This is the end of this lesson.
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can-Do course.
Well done! Now you know how to talk about where you're from in Italian. That's all there is to it. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.
Expand your vocabulary with our Core 2000 Words ebook. It's free and packed with essential expressions that you'll use on a daily basis. Start building your vocabulary today. Click the link in the description below to download your free Italian ebook before it's gone.